The know I have friends who will always stand by me when this boy meets world.
Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain and welcome to the final Boy Meets World review. Last time we talked about this show, we discussed the heart-wrenching turns that Season 6 presented us with. That fittingly ended with a giant question mark looming over Cory and Topanga's relationship. Season 7 picks up right where Season 6 left off and progresses in a pretty brilliant way. Because the previous season put the characters through so much hardship and loss, Season 7 chooses to delve into the multitude of ways that the current characters struggle to stay connected before saying goodbye. So, with all that said, let's dig into the specifics as we review Boy Meets World Season 7. The first 2 episodes of the season see Topanga breaking up with Cory in the aftermath of the divorce of her own parents, and Cory, being who he is, decides that he should travel all the way to Pittsburgh to try and reunite the Lawrence parents. We know that those attempts won't bear fruit, but it does convey just how far Cory is willing to go for Topanga. And it is fitting that a few seasons ago, Topanga traveled across the state to salvage their relationship put in jeopardy by her parents, and now Cory is making that same trip in reverse to Topanga's parents with the hope of accomplishing the same thing. But unlike previous breakups, this one doesn't really last too long. Only 2 episodes later, Topanga has an enlightening chat with her mother, and the pair are back together, this time for good, en route to their wedding. The wedding itself is a pretty great episode, and Eric's hilarious involvement in the whole thing can only really be described as classic Eric. Generally speaking, the ups and downs of Cory and Topanga's relationship here do fairly well to carry the season. But, unlike in seasons past where the issues were more contained and isolated, these issues are much grander. The down that was their breakup is soon followed by the up that is their wedding, and now they are literally and figuratively in the honeymoon phase. That ends up being exactly what you'd expect, with paradise and the temptation to stay forever, except they actually for a time decide to do just that. And then we get our next down, which is the reintegration into normal life and the horrifying apartment for married couples. Then, they have to keep struggling with that situation as they deal with constant problems, acquiring jobs, going through the expected fights, and eventually working through it all together. This season paid a lot of attention to what a very young married couple's life might actually look like, which is exactly why Amy and Alan had such strong opinions about Cory and Topanga's initial attempt at marriage. They knew exactly how hard it would be and how unprepared these two would be at the time, and even under the veil of a sitcom, it still comes off as fairly realistic and very affecting. It can be played off as silly at times, but you can really feel how much their situation is wearing on them. But they make it through. They survived, and they're stronger because of it. Before we properly discuss the second half of the season, let's talk about good old Shawn Hunter. He gets into a bit of a fight with Cory before his wedding since he thinks he's losing him to Topanga, but that doesn't last for too long and eventually things are alright. What's more important is his ever-changing relationship with Angela and how her father's surprise visit presents a major curveball. This does well to parallel Cory and Topanga's breakup situation at the time, not only because Shawn and Angela also break up during the first episode of the season, but also because Shawn goes out of his way for Angela through her father, just as Cory did with Topanga's parents. We already know how important Angela is to Shawn, but their relationship is that much more important with his dad now gone, so the last thing he wants is to lose someone else close to him. This storyline carries over into the third to last episode, Angela's Ashes, where her father returns to take her to Europe. This presents a clear crossroads for Shawn, who could either ask Angela to stay or allow her to be with her father, a chance she almost never gets. Shawn chooses the latter, a selfless decision, but one that would leave him on his own until a waitress/aspiring actor named Katie found her way into his life, and we all know how that ended. But it is fitting that Shawn would need some time on his own. In one of the season's most definitive moments, he rejects Alan's offer to adopt him, instead wanting to focus on fixing the Hunter family name, another decision that, if nothing else, proves that over 7 seasons, Shawn has done a lot of growing up, and probably the most growing up of anyone in the cast. The supporting characters don't have too many discussion-worthy hurdles to clear this season versus the main quartet of friends, but, as per usual, Eric gets a few moments to really shine. First, in the incredible 2-episode friendship arc of The War and Seven the Hard Way. A series of pranks goes too far, and the event brings to light a ton of hidden insecurities about the larger friend group dynamic. including a very telling one with Rachel admitting how unimportant she feels compared to everyone else with more established relationships. The conflict threatens to break up the friend group forever, if not for the intervention skills of one Eric Matthews. And for those of you still unaware of why Eric's first Girl Meets World appearance was him as Moses, well, there you go. Mr. Squirrels in all of his hairy glory. While played mostly for laughs, feeding into Eric's natural propensity for absurdity, Mr. Squirrels, just like the man behind the beard, has valuable things to say, or rather, one valuable thing to say about the importance of connections, because without them, nothing else seems to matter. What I love about these episodes as a concept is not just a take-home message, but how Eric's critical development throughout the series once again shows up here. At a time where not even Mr. Feeney's words can get through to the group, Eric's words do, and they stay friends because of it. Brotherly Shove is also a great episode because it presents a new side of Eric, one that actually gets legitimately pissed off at Corey for not realizing how important cleaning out the garage together is. The writing for Eric and the way he conveys every emotion here is just spot on. Will Friedle has been a great voice actor for a number of years, but it's episodes like this that convince me that he should have and could have been so much more than that. So here we are. Season 6 provided powerful emotional arcs for our characters, and Season 7 expanded on that idea by having the characters' main challenge be staying together amid all their recent tragedy. After several trials and tribulations, the friends, minus Angela, can finally take some time to pause and reflect as they move on to the next chapter in their lives. And, as we know, the next chapter of their lives involves the married couple moving to New York, Corey getting a teaching job down the line, and starting a family. Brave New World is exactly what a series finale should be, and was perfect in almost every way, including the famous last scene in the classroom where Feeney doles out his final bits of advice to his now grown-up students. These are the kinds of moments that transcend scripts and acting because the emotional weight of leaving what you've known behind is affecting for the characters as well as the people that portrayed them for 6 years. And so, there they go, having now finally met the world. The 5 episodes I would say are the best in order from 5 to 1 are The Honeymoon is Over, Family Trees, It's About Time, 7 the Hard Way, and Brave New World, with an honorable mention going to Brotherly Shove for being an amazing emotional turning point for Eric that brings back fond memories of his Season 3 days. Season 7 of Boy Meets World found several great ways to keep building on the ideas of the previous ones. We've talked before about how previous seasons properly escalated the tests the characters go through in response to their maturity. This season keeps doing that by throwing new and more complex rigors at the cast as they prepare to take that final step into true adulthood. They go through some rough lows, some amazing highs, but through it all, they prove that they'll always be there for each other, always have each other. Except for Rachel, who never makes a Girl Meets World appearance. But that's still a strong point of emphasis for the season, preserving what's important, protecting and holding on to what really matters, be it your true family heritage, your trust in people, or your faith that things will be alright despite the stormy times. Boy Meets World realized that these are the moments that would define the characters for the rest of their lives, so they made the moments matter in ways that only this show could do. It presents emotions and feelings in a less direct way than Season 6, but that doesn't necessarily make it less potent or less valuable. How you respond to crisis can be even more important than the crisis itself, and Boy Meets World understood that, and that understanding allowed the characters to grow through those trying times and not have them be treated like painful one-off events. And this show being able to effectively and intelligently build on concepts, ideas, revelations, and struggles season after season after season, and even continuing that through Girl Meets World, is why Boy Meets World is one of the world's greatest sitcoms. And yeah, there were some errors and missteps along the way, but there's already a perfectly good video that discusses the multiple plot holes from a fellow sub, which I'll link in the description down below. But for now, I just wanted to reflect on how incredible it is that I finally finished my channel's longest standing project. It's been over a year since we first took a closer look into Season 1 of this show and discussed how good it really was. In a way, the progression of those videos kind of mirrors my progression as a YouTuber. Through the journey, so many of my perceptions about the show changed while rewatching it, especially with Eric. Just as many aspects of my channel changed along the way. But now, we finally made it. This is it. And while there's so much more to say, so many more conversations that could be had about this show, I feel content in ending things here. And don't worry, this is not a parallel to me retiring or anything like that. But seeing how these characters have grown and changed does make me think deeper about how I've grown and changed over the last 1.5 years. And that kind of reflective video is one that I think I'll be making soon, just as a way to discuss some of my YouTube related highs and lows with all of you. I haven't really done a personal video in a while, so hopefully you'll enjoy that when it eventually comes out. In parting, the question still remains, just how good was Season 7 of Boy Meets World? Well, I think you already know the answer to that question. This has been the Boy Meets World Review. Thank you all so much for watching, and Mr. Feeney, won't you please see us out?
I love you all. Class dismissed.